Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jackie and this is Jacqueismaking, a place where I talk all about the knit garments, accessories, and sometimes sewing projects that I have going on. And it has been a hot minute, so I'm really excited to just jump right in and tell you all about the things that I have been making lately. To get started off, I have a finished object to show you, and it is the perfect springtime tank top that I just finished up. So this is the Palm Springs tank by Knit California. Her name on Ravelry is Leslie Forrester Howard, and this was actually a test knit that I did for her, and I was so excited to get completed. So she had posted that she was working on this. If you're unfamiliar, Leslie Knit California, she's a YouTuber and she's pretty popular on Instagram as well. And she started off in the space just, as a maker and content creator, and now has been diving into a lot of different designing elements. Last year, I test knit her California sweater, so that was that orange sweater that I made. And then when I saw that she was doing a test for this one, I knew I wanted to do it because she had knit up a couple of samples that I thought were so beautiful and looked like such staples. For me, I wear this type of garment, just a very staple sort of camisole tank top underneath a lot of different clothes. Like in the winter, I'll wear them underneath my sweaters. In the summer, I love to wear them around the house, typically because they have a negative ease. So it's kind of one of those really nice pieces to wear at your house if you don't want to wear a bra. That negative ease kind of holds you in. So yeah, I already have pieces like this from different brands. They're just in a cotton that I really love. So I was like, okay, I already know I love that shape and style. I think I would love this tank top. And then it happened to be Nora Knits. She did her top pieces that she wore last year, aka Nora Knits. She's here on YouTube. And she said her ultimate piece that she wore the most last year was a knit tank top, just because of how versatile it was and how many different ways she could wear it. So I had all these different elements coming in of reasons that I wanted to make this. And then when I was at Wool & Company, it's a big yarn store in Illinois, just about an hour and a half from me, I ended up purchasing yarn for a tank top. So for this, I used the Knitting for Olive, just their merino, which is actually a light fingering weight. And I used my little color card from my autumn booklet I got for my color analysis and picked out this nice beige color because I really just wanted a go-to staple tank top. So I had bought that yarn for a different tank top pattern, but when I got selected for this test, I had just the right amount, which ended up being 3 balls of the Knitting for Olive merino. So not only is this a good staple tank that I think you'll wear all the time, but it's also pretty affordable to make in the amount of yarn that you use. Now for this tank top, I did hit gauge on the recommended needle size, which was a US 4. But what I noticed in the test is a lot of people were using a hand-dyed fingering or just these fingering weight yarns that had more plies. And so it was a more plump sort of yarn. And I wasn't really aware that the Knitting for Olive merino was very much so a true light fingering. It's definitely not a super plump yarn. And so I was a little bit dismayed with how my gauge ended up looking. So even though I was hitting gauge, it's a little bit more open than what I was hoping for. So that's something to keep in mind if you also want to use the Knitting for Olive. I will say it is so soft. I mean, next to skin, cannot even feel it. It feels very luxurious and just high quality. For me, when people say, oh my gosh, merino is so soft and so nice, such good quality, I know that now my mind is going to go to this yarn because this it feels just really high end and good quality yarn, which is also amazing, for the price point, truly. So I love this so much in this yarn. that I think that even though the gauge is a little bit more airy than I had wanted, I think next time perhaps I may drop down a needle size to a US 3. And I think I can do that with Leslie's pattern because she does such a good job of having a like really encompassing schematic, and every single time you're in the pattern it says like the exact inches that you're trying to get to, and then yeah, there's that whole schematic with all of the inches and dimensions, centimeters, that you need to knit to. So I actually think that may be what I try next is to do this garment in a US 3 with a Knitting for Olive merino again. So I would be a little bit off gauge, but again, I would be trying to hit those inches. So you'll definitely be seeing another one of these from me in Knitting for Olive, just because I love the way it feels. However, I do think because like I can't not be so entranced by like a delicious hand-dyed skein, and I'm actually going to be going to YarnCon next Saturday where there will be tons of hand-dyed, and for one of these you only need 2 skeins of a hand-dyed yarn. So I actually think that might be my next tank adventure, will be that. But you're definitely going to see me going back to a Knitting for Olive one this year because it is such a staple and because it knits up so fast. I knit this in 3 weeks and I definitely could have done it faster even if I had wanted to. It's just so enjoyable, and it's kind of one of those that's super easy to fit in your purse. It's almost like a sock project like that where it just fits in perfectly, and yeah, could be an alternative if you're a little bit sick of socks. So some details on this pattern are that it is a little bit of a racer back. So when you're wearing it, you are going to want to wear a sort of like racer back style bra. I wear one that's like a soft bra. You know what? I'll have to like link it or put a picture up here because I know sometimes people don't really know what types of undergarments to wear with these. But I do find that that is a perfect fix for this. And really how you're making this is you're making a little back panel, you're picking up the 2 fronts, you're joining in the round, you're knitting just straight stockinette till the bottom. And then these edges are made by picking up stitches. You're doing kind of a little detail row, and then you're also knitting just again stockinette, and then you're folding it over and sewing it down. Now I will say for these edges as well, I did actually go down 2 needle sizes. So once I knew how my gauge was looking on the body, I knew I was gonna have to go down the recommended needle size for this rib just because I wanted it to be like a little bit tighter. So this folded down edge, I actually ended up using a US 1 needle, and I think it looks so beautiful in this US 1. So that's definitely something that I would continue to do again as well. But as far as like fit and everything on this, it fits beautifully. I love the way like how deep it goes down at my armpit. I think the neckline comes at the perfect height. I think I did end up doing a little bit longer on the body. So that's the only thing that I did a little bit differently on this one. And then as well, you may have noticed in my photos, I don't have a folded over edge here at the bottom. I was having a lot of issue with this. I thought I was being so smart because you're supposed to do a very similar edge to how you do on these armholes and neck, where you're knitting that stockinette and then folding over. But I thought I was being so smart because I even took like a red piece of thread as a lifeline, where I knew that I was going to have like a clear guideline to where I was sewing down that hem. But I think because of my little bit more of open gauge, the way that it looked was just not appealing at all, and it absolutely was my gauge and user error because everybody in the test knits hems looked stunning. So what I ended up doing after doing it twice, I ended up just frogging it back and doing just a very simple I-cord bottom edge, and for me that worked for this one. So I'm not sure on my next one if I will do a folded or if I will just do the I-cord again. But yeah, that is this tank. Absolutely, I will be knitting this again, like I've mentioned. I know for me, I just genuinely do love having one of those little projects, like whether I'm going to a sports game or like having a lunch at work or riding in the car. It's so nice to just, I got my little project and my little skein. And so yeah, I think maybe I'll go back and forth between tanks and socks now, because these really are, and I can just see them being a staple in my wardrobe. So yeah, that is the Palm Springs tank. Be on the lookout for that for when the actual pattern is released. I'll keep you guys posted on my Instagram as well. But again, congratulations, Leslie. I think you nailed the fit so well, and I'm excited to have more of these in my future. Next for you guys, I have so much project on the Norma sweater. So what I have to showcase for you all today, let's see the front and the back. You can tell the back because it has those short rows here. So that's always kind of what I'm looking for. But I have a whole finished garment, basically. I have the whole body and one whole sleeve, and now I just have one more sleeve to go. And it is just warming up rapidly in Wisconsin, but it's doing one of those like fake spring things where sometimes it's warm. Yesterday, for instance, it was 70 degrees out of nowhere, but now next week again, it's supposed to drop back down to 40s. So I just have a serious goal for myself to really finish this sleeve, hopefully in the next couple of days, because I'd love to wear it even, one or two times before we get super warm, and then maybe also have a couple days where I just like wear a t-shirt and drape it across my shoulders, just because I'm so proud and excited for this one. I've also noticed that when I try it on, so I did knit this one with the full turtleneck that is recommended in the pattern. And I've noticed as well that it actually works really well too when I fold it down when I'm wearing it. So maybe that'll give me a little bit more of longevity in wear as well, because I mean, you can't really wear a full turtleneck into April. It's just not really style appropriate, but folding it down might buy me a little bit more time. So if any of you are unfamiliar with what I am making this out of, this has been made out of Kelborn woolens in their sport weight tweed yarn. And I'm also holding it with their brand new mohair yarn. And I have picked out these like really fun colors. The main color being this navy, and then I have, it's like a very true chartreuse color, and then an oceany sort of teal mixed in there as well. And my most favorite comment is one of my friends said that this looks to them like the Starry Night painting. And so now every time I look at it and think about it, it's definitely like, this is my Starry Night sweater. So yeah, this has been a little bit of a labor of love in that some of it is that color work. I mean, really the only true color work in this is the 1x1 color work. The rest of it is basically just like stripes. And I did mention last time in my podcast that I was having some issues with the wordiness of this pattern. And I had some comments of people being like, well, the wordiness is really helpful for beginners and whatnot. And I think I wasn't super clear in that, because what I didn't say is that I actually think if I were a beginner, this would be hard for me to follow. It would be more confusing because it's so wordy. And so I think for me, if I was a beginner reading this, it would make me a little bit more anxious just by how wordy it was. And so that was kind of like a misspeaking that I had. And you won't really truly know that unless you've read the pattern and you've tried executing it, because it feels a little bit more like cumbersome and hard to get through than other patterns that I think are made for beginners. And so because of that, there have been certain areas where I've kind of like gotten the gist of the pattern, and then I haven't looked at it anymore and just finished it. Like for instance, I split for sleeves a little bit earlier just because this yoke depth is pretty long. It's truly meant to be that kind of like flowy, oversized, more of like a boho sort of look. And so I think I still achieved that look for sure. But I still split for sleeves a little bit earlier. So I split, let's see, 1, 2, 3, almost to the 4th stripe. And let's see. Oh, and then after that, I really just knit the body, knowing, you know, how much I had to do for my blue rows and how much I had to do for my stripes, and didn't really look at the pattern. And then I glanced at the pattern to see how much ribbing I should do and just sort of did that. And I think that helped me enjoy this pattern a little bit more instead of trying to continue to read it line by line. But yeah, other than that, it's been really intuitive. Like if the pattern is confusing you and you've knit a bunch of sweaters, it absolutely is intuitive for what to do next. So for when I picked up sleeves, I just decided, like I looked at the starting stitches and I looked at the ending stitches, and I just kind of figured out where I would be decreasing based on what I wanted to end up at. And so I decreased like at the beginning and the ends of all of my blue striped rows. And then towards the very end, I know I decreased 10 stitches before I went into my ribbing on the bottom of the arm. And that's because I just wanted it to cinch in a tiny bit. I actually think I could have went even like 10 stitches more. So I went from like 80 to 70 stitches at this cuff here. And I think I even could have went down to like 60 stitches. Like this is an oversized sweater for sure. And you'll see pictures of me in this, obviously I'll probably finish this by the next podcast episode. And you'll see what I mean. This is absolutely just, yeah, that kind of flowy sort of sweater. Now, I will say I'm doing this sweater as a knit along with some of my knitting friends here in Wisconsin, and some of them didn't want that sort of flowy look, and so they adapted the pattern to have some thicker yarns and to have less of an open gauge and to have just like less positive ease. So that is absolutely something you can do if you think this stitch pattern is beautiful, but you don't want that sort of look as well. Always an option to tailor and match things perfectly to you as well. But I think that is going to be really fun to showcase for you all as well. Every single one of our Normas looks so different. I mean, there's a few of us who picked some similar colors, but I think every single one of us is using different yarn and pretty different colors. So I'm really excited for us to just get like a photo together and see how they all mix and match together. This was definitely like a really fun first knit along for us to do. So yeah, it's been cool. I will say, like, even pre-blocking, this fabric feels incredible. I cannot wait to use this Kelborn Woolens mohair again. I like that it is not too fluffy. It feels like that perfect amount where it's like a little bit of fluff that's gonna fill in the gaps, but it's not going to like overwhelm and stick out to here sort of fluff. Like, I don't want to have enough fluff on my project where I look like Big Bird coming along, you know? I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, she's fluffy. But I want a mohair to fill in the stitches, to make a garment soft, maybe have just like a little bit of a halo, but too much of a halo makes me feel like I'm making a statement, and that's not really my goal. So I am really liking this mohair for that reason. It feels like it's accomplishing all the things that I want to accomplish. So I'm loving this mohair. And then also this tweed. Oh my gosh, tweed is so fun. I don't work with it enough. It's like a color changing or a variegated yarn where when you see those pops, it like makes you happy, you know? But this is definitely more of like a cohesive look than those other yarns. So yeah, I'm absolutely gonna be using a tweed again. But yeah, so that is the Norma sweater. Those are kind of my thoughts on it right now. So excited to finish it and to wear it. So stay tuned like on my social media this week. I'm sure I'm gonna finish it and I'm gonna be posting some photos. Next, let's do a fun one, like something that I just randomly kind of cast on. It all started, I'll show you these two. This is like an acquisition that I have. These are Germantown DK, also from Kelborn Woolens. And this right here is in the color Honey and the color Jade. And you're just gonna have to stay tuned to see what really fun project that I have planned for these two. If you're unfamiliar with Germantown from Kelborn Woolens, it is like their go-to staple wool, but typically it is in a worsted weight, and so they've come out with now a DK line. So I can't wait to explore this more. However, they did send me a third skein as well, and this is in the colorway Peacock, which I fear this color is becoming my brand new personality because I want to make everything in this color. But when I was wearing that tank top, I actually was in San Diego a couple weeks ago, and I had just finished that tank top, and I found in my closet, I had this like really cute sort of bandana from Madewell, and I've seen it a lot lately. There's a couple from Suzanne I really love as well, like people just wearing like a really cute neckerchief around their neck. It just adds like another thing to your outfit to make you feel a little bit more stylish, like, you know, taking like a basic tank but adding a little piece makes it a little bit more fun. So I kind of had that in my mind. And then also my friend Courtney, Knit on TikTok, she makes so many of these little scarves. And so I, of course, like everyone else, needed to make a little scarf. This little PetiteKnit Sophie scarf that there's like 30,000 projects on Ravelry. So yeah, I'm taking, this is also Germantown DK, and I'm just making a little Sophie scarf out of it. And I ended up measuring what my handkerchief was around my neck because I loved exactly like the point that it came down to, and figured out that the small for this pattern is also that same amount of inches, so that was perfect. But I didn't want it to go to as high of a point in the middle because I'm not going to be wrapping it twice. So I actually only increased to a certain amount, and I'll have to have these amounts and some other measurements on my Ravelry if any of you guys want to copy what I've done here. But yeah, essentially I kind of only increased to a certain amount here, and then I put a stitch marker, and then I put another stitch marker to where I know exactly is the halfway point of my scarf, of like the total dimension that I want it to be in half. That's this one. And now I'm just gonna knit again to the amount to this marker, which is like a 5 inches. And then I know I'm ready to do my decreases. So this has been kind of fun just because like it's such a fun, like fast project. It's fun because so many other people have made it, but it's also neat that like I know now what I'm looking for. I know I had another neckerchief that I loved wearing, and so I know like the look and feel that I'm kind of wanting to alter this to. And you know, this is kind of a goal that I have for some of my other projects as well, is to like cast on a project, but really to like alter it and make it mine for specifics that I know that I want, and to have the confidence in doing that. So this is just like a very tiny example of that. It's not like I'm drastically changing anything, but yeah, I'm excited to wear this and have it just be like the one wrap as well, because we are going into spring. I love the big ones that wrap twice. I think it looks so cute, but I think that those are more of like that's for true warmth, and I'm not really going for that. What I'm wanting for this one is just to add a pop of color, to add like, hey, I'm a knitter, to like a plain t-shirt, and so that's kind of my goal with this one. So yeah, that is the Sophie scarf in the Germantown DK. Speaking of California, while I was there and while I was on my trip, I couldn't really find myself wanting to knit with wool on the beach. And like when I was looking forward to sitting with sunscreen on and having pineapple margaritas. Like I wanted a sort of summer yarn. And so I looked through my stash before I left and I saw that beautiful Noro kakagori that I got from a friend of mine, Sarah. She had made like a beautiful garment out of this and had a skein left over. And so what I was doing is like quick last minute, I was looking up, I wanted a bottom up because I wanted it to be just something I could immediately get in the round and enjoy working on vacation, like something that I could just bring one needle with and just like not gauge swatch, just like totally have fun with it. And so I found, I think it's the Tip Top tank, and it comes in either a cropped version or a little bit of a longer version, and it was a free pattern, so it was just like dopamine like right away because I could immediately open it, read the pattern, see if it was something that would work for me. And yeah, I just like cast it on. I knew I could use just this one skein of yarn for it, and then within the projects I saw there was another person who had also used this Noro kakagori for it. So I was like, sold. And so I cast it on and I just did, like I even did less ribbing than what was recommended because I was just like thrilled to be working on this. So I think I only did like 4 rounds of ribbing or something just to like have a nice little edge spot on the bottom here. And then right away I got in the round. And so we had just like a really fun, I mean, this looks just basically like a tube right now of this beautiful Noro yarn. What this has shown me, like I've told you guys, I don't really think I look that good in pink. We'll see if I can wear it or not. If not, I can always gift it to someone, gift it to a friend or to a sister. But yeah, this Noro yarn, man, is it fun to work with. I've learned that, you know, variegated yarn is fun to work with because you're seeing the colors come to life, but they're like colors, it's almost like colors are painted into one strand. So it feels more flat in my brain versus this is actual true different colors woven together, like kind of like how a hand spun would be. And so it feels more dynamic, if that makes any sense. And it is so fun to look at while you're knitting it. This texture of this fabric feels so cool. This is like a cotton, viscose, silk, polyamide sort of blend. And yeah, it's very much so like a wabi-sabi, like not perfect, thick and thin sort of fabric, but it looks beautiful while you're knitting it. And I can imagine this feeling cooling and really good next to skin in the summertime. So yeah, this is just kind of like a fun project that I have on the needles. It's definitely not like a priority by any means. But again, something that's like already in the round and it's just like nice and fun to pick up. Hasn't been hurting my hands. It's enjoyable to knit with. And yeah, I think I get up to a certain point and then I'm going to like start actually sectioning it out to do the different aspects of it, like the two, maybe I think there might be like 2 little triangles, then you're going into the straps, and that sort of thing. So yeah, I have really no feedback on this pattern so far. I haven't not even measured this to see if I'm on gauge. So this is one of those, truly a serotonin cast on, just going off vibes. No idea if this is going to be good or not. Okay, and then my last whip that I have for you guys is kind of fun. I'm calling it my keyless cardigan because it's the key cardigan by PetiteKnit without the keys, because I'm making it just one color. And looking at the projects on Ravelry, I haven't seen anybody do this yet, so I hope it works out. But for this, I'm using the Pure Gint by Sandnes Garn. This is that really dark, beautiful navy. It's a PetiteKnit colorway. And why I wanted to make this, I actually was planning on doing the Eva cardigan for the longest time. But I have this other cardigan that I love that's more like a round neck, and I think it's like kind of fashionable and cute right now. I just have like 1 or 2 buttons buttoned, and yeah, it just makes me feel like fashionable, and I love wearing it like that. to have like a piece like that. And so I want to make another one for myself, because what I want to do right now is just buy another piece. And instead I'd like to make myself one. Instead of like, I'm not really as much wanting to buy a V-neck cardigan. And so I'm trying to make things that I want to buy, so I don't buy them and I make them instead. But so for this, so fun to make so far. Oh my goodness. Like I have had, this has been in my little bag and I've been hiding it away because I want to finish, my Norma before I continue going on this, because I want to just keep going on this. It's so fun. For this, you're just, you know, doing some short rows and then you're almost in the round immediately, if you're like me, because I'm going to be steeking this. So I just did, and because it's a round neck, you're like basically barely doing any shaping before you're right away right here. So yeah, I'm already in the round. I'm just doing my little raglan increases. And for my little steek section here, I have kind of 5 stitches. I've done purls on either side and then 3 knit stitches in the middle, so I can just cut right up that middle stitch. And yeah, I don't have a ton to show you guys for this one today. Just know that it's coming, it's lurking in the background. I think I cast this one on when I was a little bit bored of my Norma. I just wanted some quick, something quick and fun to cast on. But yeah, I'm gonna be putting this one away for a second before I finish that. But yeah, just know this is on, this is like ready to go, and I'm having a lot of fun with this Peer Gynt yarn. Now I will say this Peer Gynt, I feel like it's worsted. I know many people have said that as well. It's technically maybe a DK weight yarn, but it's definitely like thick, luscious. It feels like plump to work with, and I'm really, really enjoying it. This is one of those where like, as you're working with the yarn, you're like, what can I make next with this? This feels really good. I actually know they have a couple of like Tweety yarns, and I've seen so many fun combinations of people doing the Olga, it's an Olga cardigan. It might be called the Olga jacket, in Peer Gynt with some really cool color combinations. And so I have so many WIPs, you guys, so many things I want to do. That would be my dream, is to do that as well next, because that's another round cardigan. And the great thing about cardigans is kind of what I'm keep trying to tell myself is I can wear them for more months of the year than if I start making a bunch of summer garments. I really only wear those for like 2-3 months. Versus I do think a cardigan, like even if I'm wearing say like a t-shirt or something to work in the summer, it is nice to bring a cardigan with and to have it like when it's a little bit chillier in the office. I used to be more work from home, but now my office has moved to 4 days in the office, 1 day at home. And so definitely like just wanting some more cute outfits and trying to plan strategically, because the summer knits are calling my name. All of you guys posting all of your like spring videos are making me like, oh, I need this and this and this and this and this. And I'm trying to keep laser focused towards like making vests and cardigans that I can wear other months as well, but it's hard out here, you know. So yeah, that being said, I don't have to show you today that one gray vest that I'm making, the tulip loop vest. I am in the round and I just need to keep going. I really need to set myself like a goal of like, hey, 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day on this, just to keep chugging. Like I'm in the round, I'm so close, but it's really frustrating because each row takes at least 20 minutes for me. And so I barely want to pick it up because it's not as fun to work on without seeing that sort of progress. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be setting myself a goal because I absolutely could wear that this spring and have so many cute outfits with that. So that one, I have decided for my big scarf to put that on hold until at least next fall. It's just really hard to want to work on a really big fluffy scarf when it's starting to get warmer. Like sweaters are one thing, but a big fluffy scarf, man, I think I might need to wait on that one. But yeah, that is knitting. And then I don't have a quilting update for you guys this week. Maybe I'll have one for you next podcast episode, because the sewing that I've been doing is actually on a nightgown, funny enough. And the reason why is because I really love this brand. It's called Print Fresh. And they make the most like gorgeous pajamas, robes, and these nightgowns as well. And the thing that kind of entranced me about a nightgown is just that it's one piece, right? And so much, like when I'm doing laundry each week, I'm the type of person, like when I come home from work, I change out of my work clothes and I put on like loungewear or pajamas, because I like to keep my work clothes nice. And if I didn't get any stains or anything on them, and if I didn't get sweaty, I'll hang them back up and I'll wear them again. And so what ends up happening is my laundry is like 80% lounge clothes and pajamas, and like the rest is, things that got dirty. But what I was noticing is that I just have so much pajamas that are like two pieces, and some of those fabrics that are a little bit thinner, you can really only wear them like once before they get like stretched out and gross. And so I don't know, I've just had this like thing in my head where my best self would wear a nice pajama, and you could wear it more than one night, like 2 or 3 nights, and it would hold up well. And I was also watching, there's one creator on here, I'll have to look her up. She's from Australia, and she dresses like 1950s, 1960s, 40s sort of like dressing, and she'll wear a nightgown, and then she has a house coat. So like her house coat is quilted, or I've seen, like, I'm a knitter, like maybe my house coat would be a beautiful sort of like wool cardigan during some months, and maybe some months it would be a lighter weight cardigan. I'm just trying to like have some fun and think through what could that mean for me. I mean, obviously that's what my great grandma probably wore. I know my grandma wore some of these. And there's probably a reason behind it. But so yeah, like this ideal self in my head is going to make these nightgowns and then eventually pair them with a little overcoat. We'll see. So getting started with some spring nightgowns. I thought this would be a perfect place to start. It's cool, or it's starting to warm up, and just like wearing some dresses to bed sounds really cute. And that Print Fresh combined like with that Print Fresh fabrics, they looked so fun and beautiful. And the only thing is the Print Fresh ones are like $130 for just one. And that's not really feasible, right? Because I'm not going to only wear one nightgown, you need multiple. And so as a sewist, I was looking up different patterns and trying to create and combine and make one that looked more like the Print Fresh one. Like I want it to look a little bit more elevated, updated. I'm not trying to quote unquote look like a grandma. I don't need any help looking like a grandma, right? Like I knit and sew and quilt, and I just trying to like modernize it out, look a little cute and young, but while also still being like feminine and cute with a little nightgown dress. So yeah, I went to my local quilt store and I picked out a couple of quilt cottons, because those are the things that are the most readily available to me, and they also come in those really fun prints, just like the Print Fresh ones. And I actually ended up making this. So I have a little handmade label on here right now. And what I ended up doing with this pattern is I actually took in the body 5 inches from my recommended size. This is recommended to be so oversized. I think these garments, I mean, even still, I could absolutely have twins in this. Like, there is enough like billowy room, and I think it's just to like be comfortable and cozy, and like how wonderful too, right? For like weight gain and that sort of thing, or weight loss, like to have a garment fit you so well still. Genius idea. And so I did that. I also took in the, like these tank top sleeves in 1 inch just to be a little bit more feminine. And I actually think I could go in a tiny bit more. Maybe on my next one, I'll go in 1.5 inches. And then I took this very light pink sort of lace and just did a little trim around. I will say on this as well, for this yoke, they have you hand sewing down the centers. So it looks very, very nice. I just hand sewed this in. However, I've before have done a burrito method yoke. So I think on my next one, it's definitely just like faster to do a burrito method, even though it is pretty fun to hand sew. I enjoyed getting to watch some TV and doing that. And then, yeah, this is obviously like gathered so much here on the front and then on the back. And then this is just like a beautiful kind of poppy sort of red color with some flowers on it. So yeah, this is my first iteration. Like I mentioned, I am going to make some more of these, and I'm excited to continue tweaking them and making them like exactly what I want. So my next fabric that I already have this washed up, so I need to like fold it. It was just draped over. But this is just like a really fun fruity fabric. It's like a gorgeous like limey sage color, and then has like some really fun pops of fruit on it as well. And I just thought this for sure looked like the Print Fresh fabric. So when I was picking these out, I was like, okay, one's like a little bit more traditional, like a floral, and then this one is gonna be like my really fun one. But yeah, I slept in this last night and it was so cozy, so comfortable. And yeah, I'm just excited to like have something that I'm iterating and making exactly, like tailoring to exactly what I want in my lifestyle and also like in my making. It's not something, for instance, that I can find on the market right now in the price point that I'm wanting, with the materials that I'm wanting. Like this I know now is like 100% cotton. I use 100% cotton thread. I made it. Like when I wore it last night, you feel that specialness. And then when I was letting out my dog this morning, I like caught my eye in the mirror and I was like, man, you really do feel like feminine and pretty in a dress. You know, it is pretty different than me wearing like pretty oversized pajamas with a top and a bottom. You know, there's just, there always is something special about a dress on a female. You feel feminine and beautiful. So yeah, that is kind of a fun thing with that. I'm guessing I'll want to make 2 more for spring and summer and see how I like making them. And I could see myself in the future eventually I would love to make like a long quilted house coat. Can you imagine? Wow. But for right now, I do have like a longer cardigan I can wear with it, just like a store-bought one for mornings. And I'm kind of envisioning, you know, like I sleep a little bit warmer, so a tank top is perfect for sleep, but just when you step out of bed, just to have something to just like drape over yourself to wear as I'm eating breakfast and starting my morning, like before I get dressed, or if I choose to wear it around the house at night. So if you can't tell, I'm one of those people, I just kind of overthink purchases and decisions, and I try, like, one of my main goals is always to just like try to be better in different assets of my life and to have fun with it in my making, and like how can I really make this mine and enjoy it. So I hope you see that a little bit, and I hope it inspires you a little bit too to do that. So that is all of my making. Wow, it's been a really busy few weeks. I am going to be hopefully finishing out a couple of these projects, and then there's going to be some time for some new cast-ons. I have a couple of really fun more ideas for this spring, including like a bright and colorful button-up vest, and also that really fun, colorful colorwork cardigan that I've already shown you the yarn for. Man, I'm dying to cast that on as well. So yeah, just lots of fun making over here. Making has been helping me so much in my mental health, and I hope that it is doing so for you as well. Thank you guys, as always, for being here, for giving me time to take time off, and still coming back and joining me. It means the most. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.